following program on Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part, and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network.
All right, we are joining in with a very, very special person today on Gen XYZ. We're joining in with Anudi Gunasekara. Now, she really shook up Sri Lanka, shook up the world as well with her beauty, her talent, and her purpose that she actually has for Sri Lankan ladies and Sri Lankan students, Sri Lankan, girls, little girls, and so much more as well. That is what spoke to all of us. Well, Anudi, thank you so much for doing this with us. It's such an honor for me to be right here in your presence as well, because you shook up the world. You really did do that, and all of Sri Lanka is like, we know who Anudi Gunasekara is and we know what she's going to do, and that's incredible. So the first thing I want to...
First of all, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, thank you so much. Now I want to know, the journey that you took in terms of winning the pageantry in Sri Lanka, and then you won the world one. You almost literally went to the world one, and that was a big one for all of us. But a lot of the Sri Lankans sort of asked the question, why is she getting more attention?
Yes.
She won it. There are so many other pageant winners as well that actually went to represent Sri Lanka, but they forget to understand the support that is important for the winning of a Sri Lankan individual. I mean, they just don't get it, right?
Yes.
How was that journey for you like? Because I want to know, from winning Sri Lanka, then going international as well, how was that journey, and the support, how was that like for you?
Well, thank you for asking that question. I think that is a question that everybody has right now. So when I won Miss World Sri Lanka, it was last year. So I had to wait for like 7 years to apply, because the very first time...
hold on, 7 years to apply?
Because the very first time that I got to know about Miss World, I was really young. I think I was about 8 years old. I used to watch movies of Aishwarya Rai, and then I asked from my mom, who is she? She's so beautiful. And my mom was like, she's Miss World 1994. But I was obviously so young. And then when I was about 17 years old, I saw Manusha Chilla, who won from India, Miss World 2017. But back then I was only 17, I was in school, I was doing my A-levels. My mom was like, you have to do your A-levels first, then you can do whatever you want. And then 2018, 2019, I tried to apply, but I lost my grandmother, unfortunately. So I was not in the right headspace to do a pageant. And then I thought, okay, it's fine, next year I'll do something. And then COVID happened. And then it went on like that, and I think Miss World Sri Lanka organization also sent representatives after nominating them, because we didn't have pageants, and I was slowly giving up. I thought, okay, it wouldn't happen, maybe I'll just focus on my higher studies and my personal life. And then suddenly I see this announcement on Instagram. I was like, okay, like this is a sign from the universe to apply, and then I was the first applicant actually. I had been that quick with my CV and everything. And that's how I ended up becoming Miss World Sri Lanka. But it was last year July. And honestly, people only saw the part where I was hanging out with the girls at Miss World, where I was doing my makeup, I was doing my, dressing up, and then saying, I want Sri Lanka. They didn't see the journey from being Miss World Sri Lanka to that part where I left to, Miss World. Yeah. So they didn't see the toughest part of it. I would say that was the hardest, most difficult phase of this journey, the prep. They didn't see that part. They only saw the part at Miss World. And they thought, like not everyone, but I believe majority, they thought it's easy. It's very glamorous, you are getting dressed up, you're having breakfast with the most beautiful girls in the world, but it was tough. So I would like to talk about my journey from being Miss Sri Lanka to Miss World, because I think that's a part that people don't see enough. And I believe almost every single contestant who had gone to international pageants from Sri Lanka, they have been through a lot. They've been through a lot, because it's not easy to do a pageant in Sri Lanka, because we don't get that support. But the thing is, I'm not even allowed to talk about it. My hardships, people are so quick to attack me saying, no, you received so much support. it's ungrateful of you to talk about the hardships you had. But what I received was social media support, right? And it also came during the last 4 weeks when I was at Miss World. But social media support does not translate into tangible support. It does not translate into, I can't pay bills just because I'm getting social media support. So one misconception about me is that I had the most easiest journey as a Miss World Sri Lanka. I wouldn't say it was difficult as much as it was for the other contestants because of the social media support. But again, I went through a lot to do that. People think that everything was handed to me on a silver platter, like I didn't have to do anything. I was at home chilling because I had sponsors. I had political parties supporting me. I wish I had that support, but I didn't. Nobody even knew who I am as a person. So starting from wardrobe to shoes to visa, luggage, and then extra luggage, and then introduction videos, beauty with a purpose videos, editor's fee, then music composers fee, location, studio charges, everything was funded by myself. So people don't see that part. So it was really tough. That's what I'm saying. Social media support is great, but there's so much to do other than that people don't get to see, and I want people to see that part. And talking about the social media support, I never thought it would happen this way. I never expected it to be like that way. To be honest, I was not on Facebook when I was at Miss World. My family was like, so much happening like on Facebook. Some things are good, some things are bad. So maybe you should, stay away from Facebook. And I deleted Facebook. I didn't have it. I only had Instagram, and I get screenshots of things, of people, what they say, what they think of me, and then I see the amount of reactions, and my boyfriend is sending me, see, you have this much likes. I'm like, this is not real. This is not happening, because I never expected that. I think during the first week at Miss World, my post went viral for some reason. And then it suddenly like blew up, and I don't know how it happened, but it was happening for some reason. So when people ask me, why are you getting so much attention, but not this one, not that one, I want to ask them, because you are the one who gave me that support.
Good one.
You are the one who gave me that attention, so you have to ask that question from yourself first. But I heard from some people, one reason was, I don't know if it's true, but that I felt relatable to them, maybe because where I'm coming from, because one thing that I understood, many other contestants didn't have much Sinhala content on their profiles. I don't think it's a problem with them, because again, media also didn't give much attention to them in the past that they deserved. I think with that, people started feeling, okay, she's relatable, we can relate to her. I think one Sinhala video that I did talking about my journey, it went viral and it got a lot of attention. And I think as a person who works in media, you also know that Sinhala content gets a lot of reach on Facebook and on TikTok. I think that was like the point where they started, supporting me, started believing in me. And I think that's how it happened. I honestly do not know why it was just me. I would like to know answers from people, because they're the one who gave me that support. But also I don't like the way they compare each other. Like, okay, this one didn't get this much attention, why is she getting? Because if you think they didn't get attention, they didn't get support, maybe be the support they needed, be the support that you didn't see, without comparing each other, because it's really ugly and disheartening to see that happens, especially in an industry where you have to get together and support each other. So that's all I had to talk about, that social media support. Again, I feel like many people supported because it started to become like a trend. I have to be honest with it. Because I feel like there were a set of people who genuinely supported me, then it became like a trend. Then it was like, if you don't support Anudi Gunasekara, then you don't love Sri Lanka. Then you are being jealous. And then for that, to get rid of that accusation, people are putting posts. So that's why it became a trend. And I would say sometimes, people supported me. Sometimes it was like I was exploited in a way. My name was exploited. So I want to say that I didn't have any PR campaigns, I didn't have any agencies, I didn't have anything. I didn't do anything, it just organically happened.
Okay, wow. I mean, it's so impressive to see, you come from Anuradhapura as well. It's very rare for Sri Lankans, because we have the people out of the country come into Sri Lanka and they're like, okay, I'm going to represent Sri Lanka. It's usually the case that actually happens. But you were bred, you were born, you studied everything, and you're literally from Anuradhapura, a district that is very rare as well when it comes to, talent being sourced out. to the world.
Yes.
And that's what you actually did, and that's
Thank
incredible
you.
to actually hear that from you. But I hear what you constantly keep saying, right? What you're saying is the fact that support.
Yes.
And the support that you got, that's exactly what we need to give when it comes to so many other pageant winners as well. Unless they win it, that's when it happens. And when they win it also, if they do something here and there, if they say something, that's it. That's the end of their career. That's the end of everything.
I have seen that happen.
Yeah, it's just so bad as Sri Lankans. I think the mentality needs to change, right? It's also to do with the parents. And that's one reason, I think, as to why, young students, young girls that, like yourself, wanted to dream and wanted to be this Priyanka Chopra, wanted to be Aishwarya Rai, or the world pageant winners, they can't do that because, their parents are going to be like, no. Absolutely no, it's not going to happen because this is the reality of everything that we see.
That's fair enough, actually.
Yeah. How was it when it comes to the support from your family as well? Because with this state of things.
So my mom is a makeup artist. So she has been in the industry for about 25 years, and I was like the lab rat for her looks, for her shoots. So that's how I got into modeling. Because she used to do shoots with me because, you have someone at your home you can use for anything. So she was trying looks with me, she was doing shoots with me. So one of those shoots went viral, not like this Miss World Sri Lanka journey, but that's when people were telling me you have to do this professionally. But again, I was in school, I was after A-levels, so my mom was like, you have to focus on your higher studies and then you can do whatever you want, because my parents are very, very concerned when it comes to education. Like you have to finish your studies, you have to do that, and then you can get into modeling or pageant, you can get married even, but after education. So that is a very important thing I see in my family. So after that, my mom took me to Brian to learn modeling, because she was like, if you do something, do it properly, do it correctly, because otherwise there's no point of doing it at all. So that's how I got into modeling. So that is another difference in my journey, because I believe many girls come to pageantry and then from that they join modeling. So for me, I had so many experiences in modeling because I've been modeling for like 6 to 7 years now, and that's how I started getting into pageantry. So my parents knew that I'm already in the industry and there's no danger for me, and my father's in the police, so he had been very skeptical.
I think that's the ultimate security. It's like, he's in the police. No.
He was very skeptical about it first. Obviously, he was like, are you sure? I mean, I trust you. There's not. I know you're independent. I know you can take care of yourself, but people around you can be dangerous. So do you really think you need to do this? But I could convince him easily, like I can easily convince him, so he was very supportive. And for my pageant journey, I have to say, I wouldn't be here without them. My parents, they have been so supportive. I think they were the greatest support system I had during this journey, no one else. My boyfriend and his parents also, they were very supportive, and my close friends. So I don't think my parents had any issues with me being Miss World Sri Lanka. Again, it depends on the pageant. So Miss World is more about the purpose you give. It's not about the beauty. It's about the Beauty with a Purpose project as an example. And in Miss World, the bikini round was banned since 2002. My father was very happy to know that. He was like, you just go ahead, do it, no problem. Because it's also coming as South Asian parents. They are very conservative. They're very concerned about these things and how people view us and all. So I think it's fair enough. I understand him. So because of that, they were very happy that I was a part of Miss World, not anything else. So I don't think there was any issue. They were being supportive, and to this day they're very supportive. And I know the world can be very cruel right now, but they're like, you did your best, you did your absolute best, and that's all that matters.
Anudi, I think you're forgetting one thing.
What?
It's the fact that you actually broke a record for Sri Lanka.
Yes.
You broke it. That's it. And people forget the fact that this is not, Miss Universe or the small little pageant. This is Miss World. With Priyanka Chopra, whose career is so big today because of that stage. Aishwarya Rai, because of that, and so many other factors as well. You broke the record, Anudi, and I think that that's the thing that we all need to embrace, and we're celebrating you for that. So thank you very much for that once again.
Thank you.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the Beauty with the Purpose. That's a very interesting project as well, and that's something you started way before, even doing any of these patterns. We'll talk a little bit more on the other side. But until then, this is of course Gen XYZ, and we're in conversation with a beauty who's actually had so much when it comes to standards, when it comes to class, when it comes to exuberance of exactly what you need to do in case this is your dream as well of being a pageant winner, a champion in the world. This is the example that you need to actually follow. Once again, this is Anudi Gunasekara. Welcome back to Gen XYZ right here on Other Than 24, where we're in conversation with a world champion. We're talking about Anudi Gunasekara. She is one of the pageant winners that actually got so much love from Sri Lanka. But the love may have not really been all love. It would have actually been quite a lot of hate as well, because Sri Lankans are very famous for that. You know, we hate on the people, we also love them.
Yeah,
so we kind
of,
yeah. How was it for you? Now, obviously off camera we spoke about, you know, how Sri Lankans supported you a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they actually, you know, said weird things to you. You know, why are you wearing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? How did that play around? Like, what do you have to say about that?
Well, when I first won Miss World Sri Lanka, that was my very first time being exposed to the public, and I realized I was cyberbullied a lot, and also I met different people with different opinions, sometimes in the industry, sometimes from the outside. Sometimes people have no idea what pageantry is. But at first time it was really, really harsh, because I had no idea how to handle it. But I'm glad it happened to me, because now I know how to handle this phase of my life, but also I believe this phase is very tough compared to that one. I think something that I understood, when you are like a public figure, you will get any sort of opinion, sometimes good, sometimes bad, negative. You have to handle everything with grace. Sometimes I feel like I should talk about it and prove myself. Then I think, okay, why would I do that? Like, it doesn't matter, because I don't even know these people, and it doesn't matter. So I try to, you know, think it's fine that I did my absolute best, and that's all that matters. People will have opinions, people will say things, because I think in Sri Lanka, no matter what you do, there's at least one person who has something to say, and you can't prevent it, you can't avoid it. It's just how the society is. I mean, there are constructive criticism as well that is helping my growth and my journey, which I take into consideration, but most of the opinions are very unnecessary. So I would say, talking about Miss World journey, something that I really, really want to tell, you can do your absolute best, but there's so many other factors involved. Like I told you off camera, it's geopolitics, and it's a business at the end of the day, and there's so many other external factors that I cannot control. Maybe it's a country factor. I'm not saying there are winners from our countries who have not made any impact. There are people like that, but again, it's about the country that this has been hosted in, like I told you. So there are so many other factors that I cannot control, but I think I control what I could control, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Talking about the fast track events, people were talking that, okay, she placed in these fast track events and she still didn't make it to top 40. How does that happen? And the dress she was wearing was not nice enough, and that's why the judges didn't place her. Honestly, there's no proof to say that. So I think it's up to the judges and the organization to decide how it has been happening so far, because we really have no idea how they select the participants, the contestants. But I would say it's just a part of the journey. Like, I'm pretty sure they will forget this in another 2 weeks as usual. Something will come into, you know, social media, some sort of a trend, some sort of another controversy, something like that. So they're going to forget it eventually. But I would say it has been really tough on me for some time, specifically when I was at the pageant. Yeah, I got the support, but also the opinion sometimes can be too much. Like I told you, they were like, okay, this one is very ugly, why you're wearing that? You should have worn this for this one. But I can't control it. The designer gave it to me to wear it for this segment. And there was this Indian outfit that I had to wear. People were saying, oh, you're so stupid, you don't think about this, and that's why you picked this, and look at you, so ugly. It's what they gave me. I can't go to them and tell them I can't wear this. It's just what they gave me. So it's part of my responsibility to wear it. So those are the things that people don't see, people don't really understand. And specifically when it comes to the clothes that I had to wear, I go to a designer and they're like, okay, these are the things that's available right now, you can pick from this. And people are like, you could have picked some bright colors, but the thing is, this is all we have. And from that also, maybe like 2 things will fit me. Then I'm going to take it and come back home. So it's not like I had many options, but I'm very grateful for the designers who helped me out with everything they could. People don't understand that you can't really compete with some other countries when it comes to fashion and styling. That's how it is. I mean, I wish we had that support, but we don't get that support, and we do our best with whatever that we get inside the country. So I believe if people can understand that part and understand that this is truly a tough journey that you go on, then this cyberbullying will not happen. So that's all I have to talk about regarding the hate and the cancel culture, because I feel like I'm not the only victim of this culture, and it will pass, honestly.
Just see, the thing is, what I hear, I've had a couple more, Mrs. Sri Lanka, Mrs. World and so forth as well come on board before, the winners to whatnot, and all of them constantly keep saying this same thing. It's cyberbullying, cyberbullying. And for me, I'm like, in Sri Lanka, our mentality is in such a way that we think we are opinionated and our opinion actually matters to comment on someone else's work. And that's just messed up to another level. And imagine, young youth members that actually want to come on board and do this. That's the big problem that they're going to have. What is a piece of advice you have to tell them to, just shut it off?
So there are so many girls in my DM saying, okay, I wanted to apply, but after seeing what you go through, I don't want to. And I think it's very fair enough, because these girls are like 19, 18, and I'm 26 this year, so I think I was a little bit mature enough to handle it. But there are so many young girls who had no idea how this works. And I don't want them to be their first heartbreak through cyberbullying, maybe anything else, but not this. So I just feel bad for these young girls. So I tell them all the time, the opinions will come and they will go. It's how you represent. Something that Megha was telling me, who's been very supportive throughout my journey, because we've been friends even before Miss World or Mr. World. So I remember I was telling him, how people treat me now because I didn't place. Now the support didn't matter. It was wasted. He always tells me, no, Anudi, it's how you represented your country. Let's say that you win the crown, and that crown and the reign will be 1 year.
Yes,
but the impact you created, and people remember you, people remember what you did out there. To this day, people remember my head-to-head speech. This day, people remember how I represented my country, the way I was doing my opening ceremony act. They remember that part. So I believe that is something that will be lasting forever, honestly. So I don't really think about the placements or whatever the achievements that I got there. Even the fast track events, I don't talk about it a lot, because I believe the impact I created is much bigger. So I just want to tell the young girls, just come, just do your thing and authentically represent Sri Lanka. Don't try to be like another Anudi Gunasekara also. Don't try to be like another former contestant. Just be you. I think that uniqueness is very important, right? Because we are representing the same country, but that you factor you bring as an individual contestant is so important. I mean, that's why Sade Greenwood is different. That's why Kavindi Netmini is different. That's why Ishadi Amanda is different. We all have some unique way of representing our country, and that's how people remember us. So I would say to anyone, young girls, young boys who want to represent our country, not just in pageantry, sports, anything, just bring that unique value in you. Just authentically represent yourself, because you are the medium that represents your country. So that's very important. And this cyberbullying is something that you can never avoid.
Get over.
It's just there's no code to crack in order to get rid of it. Just you have to be tough. I know I'm so sad to say that you have to be tough, but you have to be tough to handle it, and don't really think what other people have to say. Because I believe the key to happiness in life is to control what you can control and let go anything that you cannot control. Like the way I represented my country, how I performed at fast track events is something that I could control. And I think I did control. But what people have to say about my hairstyle, my makeup, my wardrobe, outfit, I can't control. They're going to say something. I'm telling you, sometimes I get comments for the same performance, I think for head to head. Someone was like, you don't look confident, it looks very messy, and feel like you're very insecure about yourself.
Wow.
And then for the same performance, I saw this person had written a whole post about me saying her expressions look rehearsed.
Rehearsed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like
so meaning they claiming to be fake.
The way I speak is rehearsed, and she looks so overconfident. And I was thinking, for the same performance, someone is saying I'm insecure, someone is saying I'm overconfident, and that itself shows that you don't need to think about these things. And I'm just happy that people have something to talk about at the end of the day. Jobless people who have nothing to do with their life, they have a purpose. So maybe I will do my Beauty with a Purpose project there. They still have something to say, saying that I copied it and you shouldn't do another Beauty with a Purpose project about menstrual health. And I was thinking, why are we gatekeeping community service now? Like, do you want me to trademark empathy now? No. I mean, in Miss World also we had projects supporting different communities, sometimes the same community. Let's talk about breast cancer, there are like few projects about it. Then autism, there are like 3 projects. But people don't compete saying, okay, you are talking about this, I'm also talking about this, then don't talk about it. We don't do that. At the end of the day, someone is getting the support they needed, right? Yeah, there could be 10 menstrual health projects, but the community is getting the benefit. That's all that matters. So I think I've been mature enough to understand that nothing really matters at this point. It's just how I behave, how I conduct myself, and how I represent my country.
Yeah, that's very important. I think you just, put the cherry on top of the cake and said, this is what needs to actually happen. That's very important, Anudi. I'm so sorry that you actually had to, face that as well, coming post of the pageantry. Don't worry, we know you're going to head mega things. And talking about that, there's a big project that you're actually affiliated as well. You started this way back in the day, and this is to do with menstrual health. Sri Lanka is a very, it's a developing country, but at the same time, there are so many rural areas that are actually, parts of where they don't even have access to it. And that's very sad to see that you don't have sanitary access. And then, people, again, when you brought that in as well, they don't really understand the gravity of this. So can you tell us exactly what this project is and how is it making such an impact in so many girls' lives?
So the very first time that I don't think it's not a personal experience, it's a second-hand experience, but this is about period poverty. That was the very first time I introduced to the term, to this issue. I think I talked about in my head-to-head speech in the second phase. I met this girl during a competition who came from a very rural area, and she told me that she doesn't want to change a napkin because she doesn't have any. Then I thought, okay, she doesn't have any at that moment. She said, no, not at home. And I was thinking, like, is it even an issue? Because I think I'm coming from a household where it was never an issue. I got whatever I wanted. So I was thinking, how is it an issue not having enough sanitary napkins, not having money to buy it? But I was only 12, obviously I forgot. And then again in the university, before university COVID happened, I remember there were posts asking for sanitary napkins for women women who do not have enough money to buy it. But back then I think I was mature enough to understand, okay, this is what we call period poverty. I remember my mom bought about 50 packs and donated that. So even though I didn't have Saheli or any charity, that was the stepping stone into that. I didn't feel like it's so much, but now looking back at it, I feel like that's a huge step toward it. And then at the university also, few of my friends and we talked about period poverty. We wanted to have this organization, but we underestimated how traumatizing university life can be. We just completely forgot. And then I did my research on marital rape for my final university research. And then I was talking to women about the abuse that they had to go through. I talked to a few prisoners, and then underlying factor was the period poverty issue. But I felt like that they're so focused on the abuse, they don't feel like period poverty is an issue. They're like, yeah, we don't have sanitary napkins, but I'm being abused by the husband. Who cares about not having sanitary napkins? So I just want to focus on that. So because of that, that had been overlooked, the period poverty issue. And that's when I realized it's time to take action. And I had a platform on Instagram, on social media. I thought, yeah, I can use this for something purposeful. And that's when I started Saheli. So Saheli, the meaning is best friend in Sinhala, because I wanted women to feel like this is like a best friend. It's not like another charity organization. This is a best friend that is going to stand by you when you need her. So we do donations, and we conduct awareness programs, and we provide sanitation facilities because some schools don't even have water. So girls skip school so they can be at home and clean themselves. They can't do it at school. And then we also do policy recommendations. I met the Prime Minister of our country this year to talk about the tax reduction, because 51.7%, as I remember, the tax rate on sanitary napkins. I'm not sure if it has changed right now. So I think those are the things that we need to change, because even silver and gold, they don't have these tax rates on those products. Those are not even essential items. So I feel like these are things that we need to focus on. So I've been working with schools, I've been working with this working places, and also I work with prisoners and religious communities, because I feel like they're very overlooked when it comes to menstrual health discussions, and also mothers who go through their first menstruation after having the child, because we are so focused on taking care of the baby, but we rarely think of the mother. So those are the things that I want to address through my project. And we also talk to the men and young boys, because they are going to be brothers, fathers, and their husbands. So they need to understand how to be supportive when it comes to menstrual health and menstruation. For that, they need to have this education and knowledge. I think from a very young age, we have this idea, okay, boys should not talk about this. This is like this taboo topic. I remember in school also, when we go on a trip, the teachers take us to a corner and talk about, okay, this is how you dispose it. And the boys are like so curious, what are you talking about? Like, what is it? I don't think it has to be that way. It has to be normalized. It's a very normal, common biological process that happens inside our body. And it's just blood. So I don't think it has to be this abnormal taboo topic forever, and that is my goal, to address it and make it a very normalized conversation. So that way we wouldn't have a term called period poverty in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. It's very interesting how you mentioned it as well, right? Because I know a lot of the boys still, till date, are not aware that this is a normal process that happens. They wouldn't be here if that process didn't happen, so it's very important that we actually nurture that as well. And hey, kudos to you, Anudi, for honestly making that initiation and doing that incredible thing in Sri Lanka. And bigger things coming your way as well, so thank you very much. We'll talk a little bit more on the other side, but until then, we are going to jump into a short commercial break. Welcome back to Gen XYZ right here on Other Than 24. Well, we're in conversation about something very, very important. And this is about, women's health, children's health around rural areas of the country in Sri Lanka. And that is exactly why we've got a champion. I can't stop saying this because she's beyond a champion. She's actually, made such an impact, and she's still creating that massive impact in so many people's lives, especially little children in rural areas of Sri Lanka. And this is with her project as well. So this is Anudi Gunasekara. Now, Anudi, I know obviously a lot of Sri Lankans, because they are very, very rich in opinions, they started saying and bashing your, initiation as well, saying that she's getting sponsors, she's probably getting doing all of these things, and she's using up all the money and everything, and that's the whole thing, right? She's probably like, okay, doing 1 or 2 projects. That's not the case, right? Maybe not, maybe yes. No, this is a place for you to really set it out there and say if it's true, if it's false, and how we as youth members can actually help you as well in terms of making that impact in Sri Lanka.
So first I'll start off by talking about my journey, my experience. I did not have sponsors. People really thought that I'm getting checks from these companies and political parties, and there was this politician who sponsored my entire PR campaign. I don't even know these people, and I had nobody to sponsor we didn't have a PR campaign. And also don't like the way that people talk as if doing a PR campaign is like a crime. It's not. If somebody wants to do it, they can do it, but I didn't do it because I didn't have the means to do it, and I didn't think that it will be blowing up this way. And I didn't have any agencies, any PR firms helping me out, or any businessmen helping me out. Nobody helped me out. But I have to be grateful and be thankful for the few people who helped me out in the industry by giving their outfits, by doing my makeup for shoots, by doing pictures for me, for my portfolio. And there are people who gave me discounts when it comes to videos, editing and all that, and then gave me shoes. they helped me out, and I'm so grateful. And they didn't even see any potential in me. They didn't see the support. I was not this Anudi Gunasekara the entire country knew back then, but this still helped me out. I believe that's a support we should see. People have this idea, okay, she didn't even reach out. She didn't even reach the top 40. Then why are we helping her out? And then I saw comments saying, this is why we should support the candidate or the contestant after they come back to Sri Lanka, because no point. And I thought support shouldn't
after they come back to Sri Lanka?
Because they think, okay, we supported Anudi, we didn't get anything from it. So I would say, why is this support conditional like this? And what's the point of supporting the contestants after they came back? So when it comes to countries like Thailand, Philippines, they support their contestant regardless of whatever that happens inside the pageant, before the pageant, after the pageant. This support that people gave me is very normal in other countries, but it is something very magical for our people because it has never happened before. And regarding the clothes that I was wearing, people had lot to talk about it, lot to say about it. But the designers that I worked with are same designers that have been working with other contestants. But this is the first time people got to see what our contestants are wearing at Miss World. And that's why I got criticized. And again, these are the best designs in our country, but they get to compare with other countries. We are like this one, we are like that one. But we have to understand the resources are limited. So the first thing I would say is, if you do not know what's happening inside a pageant, if you're not a pageant expert, then keep that opinion to yourself. You have freedom of speech, but don't talk about things you do not know. I was telling my mother the amount of pageant experts in our country. They don't even know who owns Miss World. I got messages saying, you know, if you behave like this, Donald Trump will give you more marks. I'm like, Trump owned Miss World, Miss Universe. Like, it's like long time ago. He doesn't own it anymore. And it's Julia Molly. And then some people are like, now Julia Molly looks for this one and this is how she give points. And I was like, did she tell you that? So many opinions, so many critics, so many experts, and not even real pageant experts are that critical about my performance, or they're not that harsh on my performance. They're very supportive, they're very nice, and they gave me what exactly I wanted. And they didn't put me down. And I see so many people are criticizing my performance in a way that we hyped her a lot, that's why she lost. And this is why we should not hype the next contestant. Please support the next girl, they need that. And if you think you should support, like I told you, if you should support this person only because she's achieving something, then I think that's very mean. So don't do that. And
that's very not Sri Lankan. You know, that's not what we claim to be. We claim to be hospitable. That's
the opposite of it. But again, it's not every single person out there. There were people who supported me so much. So I see comments saying, yeah, you didn't win, but you're still a queen. We still remember how we represented. We still remember what you did out there to represent us, to bring the Sri Lankan values into Miss World platform. I think I value these opinions and appreciation from people like this because they knew what I was doing. And I think that is a support that we should be giving to all the contestants. And again, monetary wise, it's expensive. Like my father told me, it's like doing a wedding. So I think when we keep social media factor a part of this whole pageant experience, we should give them monetary support a lot.
True.
And when it comes to outfits, when it comes to shoes, when it comes to doing the documentaries for Miss World and luggage and tickets and everything, it has to be in a way that, you know, like the contestant can go to Miss World with confidence.
Yes.
Not to be insecure, right? Because sometimes when people give these opinions, okay, you look ugly today, I got messages like that. Don't wear this, you look ugly today, we support you, but you look extremely ugly, you look like this, you look like that, and you don't speak well. It's okay to have constructive criticism come in, but some opinions are way too much to handle when you are inside the pageant. Specifically about clothes, because I can't do anything about it because I'm already in the pageant, right? So that's one thing that I want people to stop doing when it comes to the next contestant. And I want them to support this contestant no matter what happens. Even if she's not performing well inside the pageant, still keep supporting her. Sometimes she wouldn't place in fast track event. Sometimes she would place in every fast track event. But still keep supporting her because that is very much needed. That encouragement is everything. Again, that encouragement shouldn't stop after the pageant. It shouldn't go the other way like it happens for me. So that's all I have to talk about, the support that I got. Again, I'm telling you, I didn't have anyone supporting me like these people claim. It's just myself, my organization, my parents and my family, my close friends. That's it.
Well, that's very interesting that you actually mentioned as well and laid it off there on the table saying,
Yes.
no. And it's very important, right? And I'm very happy the fact that, you took in the initiative because it's not just your dream.
Yes.
I think that's where people fail, right? It is not just your dream.
Yes.
It's the dream of the entire nation because us going there is a big thing.
Yes.
And you constantly keep saying this, the fact that, okay, we supported it, but she didn't win it. She didn't win it.
Yeah.
Do you understand that this is the world pageant and you actually have already broken the record for Sri Lanka, stepping it there? Imagine the next pageant winner that's actually going to go there, compete in the world. They're going to go a step higher and a step higher and people know who Sri Lanka is.
Yes.
That in itself is a big win. I feel like that is what really needs to simmer into the people's minds in Sri Lanka. And honestly, proud of you and proud of everything that you've done for Sri Lanka as well. Now, something else that I think we spoke before as well is in terms of the support of India.
Yes.
Right? The pageant obviously was in India and the support that we get in India is very, very different and they also do find us a little bit here and there, as a little bit of a threat. Okay? I'm an Indian, but I'm just saying it. Yeah. But that's the reality, and that's I think one of the reasons as to why you didn't come as far as we were supposed to come as well, because you are talented, you have the potential of doing that. But in realism, how was it when you compare the support that India got, or the pageant winner of India, and the support that you got?
Yes. So Miss India was from Rajasthan. She is a brilliant contestant, Anudi Gupta. I think one of the best India had produced so far from Miss World India. And we were from the same region, so we obviously spent so much time together. But when it comes to support, there's a huge difference. And I don't blame the Sri Lankan government or the Sri Lankan people, because pageantry is something very fresh for us. I know we have sent contestants. It's not like we have never won anything. We have 2 Mrs. World crowns and we have become first runner-up also this year in Mrs. World. Yeah, we have that achievements and everything. But when it comes to support, it's very limited, specifically when you compare these pageantry countries like India,
Malaysia, US,
Thailand, Philippines, like that. Now, Miss India was crowned 2 years ago. That was 2022, I believe. So she was prepping her journey, she was prepping herself for 2 years. So that's a long time. Now, I got so much time. I'm so lucky. I got at least 9 months. But back in the day, our Sri Lankan contestants get about 2 months, maximum 3 months. That's not enough, not even nearly enough. So I think that is one point that we need to address. The time. That time is very much needed, because for me also, I believe I'm not the same person that was crowned last year July. There's a huge improvement in terms of maybe communication, in terms of presenting myself. So if I went last year, maybe September, I don't think I would have ever placed in fast track events even, because that growth, even that growth that comes through criticism, the negative comments, the cyberbullying also kind of help you to grow. So I think that is very much needed, the time. So that is the first thing. And second thing, when it comes to sponsorships and clothes, now Miss India had time to wear all the clothes she was going to wear for Miss World and shoot every single outfit, do videos about it, do pictures. She had a whole fold of outfits that she constantly posted during Miss World journey, and those are like very high quality shoots with high quality photographers and outfit designers, stylists, and she had an entire team. I think, as I remember, her introduction video itself had a team for about 20 people. So that's a lot of people. So for my thing, it was just my mom, myself and the photographer and the videographer, just 4 people together. So we don't get that support a lot, and I don't blame anyone for it, because everything I did by myself, I did it with passion, I did it with pride. But again, I would have loved some more support coming from the industry, coming from the people, but they did their best. So that support is something that I would like to see in the future. Now people would love to compare, say, Miss India's wardrobe was like this, Miss Sri Lanka's one was like this, but they don't see the behind the scenes of it. They don't see the effort that went into this, right? If we also had huge teams like that, maybe we could have pulled something more beautiful. So that is one difference we see between the two countries, because those are like pageantry countries and it is a business, there's a market for it, and they have already had 6 crowns. So I want to see a market in Sri Lanka for beauty pageants. Maybe that's when we can just, get a placement or maybe get a crown, because that market is very important in order to go forward. So that is something I would love to see.
Can I ask you, now I know there's a lot of youth members that sort of want to come on board, right, and do this and probably represent Sri Lanka.
Yes.
What do you have to tell them when it comes to the first step that they need to do and what they actually need to achieve in order to get this achievement in, representing Sri Lanka?
So I would like to say, I know there are people who want to do pageants, but I would tell them, pick the pageant first. There are some girls who want to do any pageant, there's nothing wrong about it, but I feel like if you go to Miss World, you have to be very passionate about what you do. You have to do your research, like not because you just wanted a crown, just because you wanted to become a Miss Sri Lanka, but if you want to become Miss Sri Lanka for Miss World, there should be a course, there should be a purpose, there should be a research, and you should know what you're getting into. So I would say do your research first. It could be anything, it could be Miss Universe. There are girls who want to take part in Miss Universe but not in Miss World. There are girls who want to do Miss World but not Miss Universe. Now, I was very passionate about Miss World. I was nominated for 2 other pageants a few years ago. I never went. I thought if I'm doing a pageant, then Miss World and Miss World only. So there are girls like that. So whatever the pageant you pick, just check what you're getting into, what's happening, what you have to do in order to get noticed. So check that first. And the second thing is, people think you need to be a model first to do pageants. You don't have to be a model, because in 2017, Mansuchila, who won Miss World from India, she was a medical student. And I have heard that from her interviews that she was not a model. She didn't even know how to walk. She didn't know how to pose. But she ended up becoming Miss India and Miss World 2017. And she's the only Miss World winner, also with the Beauty with a Purpose segment win as well. So she did not have any sort of modeling experience, but she just went out there, presented herself well, did her thing, and she won. So I don't think you have to be a model, but that modeling experience can help you when it comes to the walk, when it comes to posing and everything. That is important. But the third thing is, again, just don't let other people define your journey or your values, your principles. Just be yourself. Just go out there and do what you want to do in your life. Because like we talked initially, there are so many opinions coming out and people might be scared to try this out because of their opinions, but don't take it into heart. Just prepare yourself well. The prep is very important, and even the constructive criticism, if there's something that you can get out of it, just get it. It's okay. You can always learn, grow and evolve. And just be yourself, be confident, and even if you do not make any impact, it's okay. The fact that you went out there and represented your country itself is a huge achievement. That's all that you have to think about.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Once again, it's been such a delight, having you on board as well and getting really the insights and your side of the story when it comes to many factors as well, right? So thank you once again, and all the very best with everything that you're going to do in the future. Definitely reach out. I'll be there to support you in every single way that you want. No, honestly, thank you so much. And once again, this is Anudi Gunasekara that we were having a little chat with. And in case you definitely want to go and catch more, or even, just know a little bit more about herself as well. All you got to do is a very simple thing. Check her out on her social media, because that's exactly where she is. Don't send bad comments, okay? That's what we want. Reach out in terms of supporting her and her project as well, which is very, very important, because we need to support Sri Lankan young youth, students and so forth that are still primitive in these hygienic factors. So definitely support her in that. But until then, we will be back with a different episode right here on Gen XYZ. And don't forget, you can definitely send in your feedback as well on our email address on feedback.ad24english@derana.lk, or our WhatsApp lines on 076-805-7933 are the numbers. Well, until then, we also got to give a mega shout out going out to these guys as well. This is 9 Wells who hosted us today on Gen XYZ. Definitely come by. They've got a great cafe. It's literally located in the heart of Colombo at Flower Road. So definitely come by with your family, with your children, and definitely enjoy what they've got for you as well. But until then, have yourselves a very, very beautiful evening. And until then, this is Gen XYZ.
Mistakes I make inside my head. She's naked in my bed, and I will lie awake, making beautiful mistakes. I to keep myself from looking soft. I fill my nights with the way you was and still wake up with broken dreams. I'm